everyone, welcome to SKR Yoga and Wellness. My name is Sam and today we are doing a class to help improve balance at the beginner level. So if you are new to yoga, or perhaps maybe this is even your first class and you're just looking to really improve your sense of balance and your sense of groundedness, then this is definitely the class for you. We are going to be doing this class in more of a Hatha style, which means that I'm going to be going through each pose individually, really breaking down every single position so that we can really get into the nitty-gritty and really help to improve our balance. So we're just going to go right ahead and get started with some cat and cow. So you're going to come onto all fours, bringing your hands right underneath your shoulders and knees right underneath your hips. And right away, make sure that your belly button is pulling in towards your spine. We're trying to find a neutral back here. So we're finding a nice long spine from your tailbone all the way to the top of your head. And on an inhale, you're gonna let your belly drop towards the floor, arching your back, looking up towards the sky. And then on an exhale, curving your spine. So bringing your tailbone and head curving down towards each other. And repeating that again, inhaling up to find an arch. And exhale, curving the spine. Twice more, just like that. Inhaling to arch. And exhale, pull your belly button in, curving the spine. Last round, here we go. Inhaling to arch. And exhale to curve the spine. Now bring yourself back to a neutral place, so finding that flat back. And then from here, extend your right leg out behind you and just try to send the heel towards the floor. So you should feel a little bit of a stretch in your calf muscles here around your ankle. Hold here for a couple more breaths. And then from this position, you're going to cross it over behind you, so around towards the left side, and then take your focus over towards that right foot. So you should feel a little bit of a stretch at the side of your body here. Continue to reach that heel away from you. And then we'll bring that leg back to center and back down onto the mat, repeating that same thing on the left side. So first extending your left leg out, sending the heel back, finding a stretch in the calf. Really releasing it down towards the floor. Taking 2 more breaths. And then from here, crossing that heel all the way over, looking towards the heel, trying to find that stretch in the left side of your body. And coming on back to center. So now from here, walk your palms out a few inches past your shoulders, tuck your toes underneath you, and right away you're going to push your hips up, finding a downward dog. So you can walk out your heels here, stretching out those calves that we just stretched a little bit, and sending your tailbone up towards the sky, and you also want the crown of your head to be reaching towards your mat. Shoulder blades are sliding down your back, and we'll settle the heels so they're both reaching towards the mat now. Settling into this position, breathing nice and deep. And now from here, we're going to swing the right leg forward in between the palms. Let your back knee drop down onto the mat. And then sitting up nice and tall as much as we can. So we're finding a bit of a stretch in the front of that left hip. Now this might already be a little bit of a challenge for balance. You can always place your fingertips on the floor. Otherwise, we're going to stand up nice and tall. You can rest your hands on top of your knee. And now from this position, you're going to tuck your left toes under at the back and then reach your arms up overhead. Keep your belly button nice and strong here, so keep your core pulling in towards your spine. And then you're going to power up the legs and push yourself up into a high lunge here. So now we're in a full lunge position. Keep your hips and your shoulders right on top of each other, facing directly towards the front of your mat. Reaching those arms up overhead. Try and keep a nice long spine, strong core. And release the palms back down to the mat. Step that right foot back and right away find your downward dog once more. Now notice if your one leg feels a little different than the other while we're here. And we'll even ourselves out by doing them on the left side. So taking your left foot forward now, let the back knee drop down. Toes can relax and sitting up nice and tall. You should feel a nice stretch in front of your right hip here. Try to keep your core engaged while we're here. And think of your inner thighs kind of coming in together towards the midline. So we're not just spilling all of our weight out into the center of our legs here. We still have a little bit of engagement, a little bit of strength to hold ourselves here. And now same thing as before, you're going to tuck your back toes under behind you, lifting your arms up overhead, keep the core nice and strong, fire up the legs to push yourself up into a high lunge. Keep that belly button pulling in, arms reaching towards the ceiling, legs staying steady and strong, breathing deeply. And we'll float the palms back down onto the mat. Coming back to downward dog once again. Settling into this posture. Feel that long spine. Feel your shoulder blades down your back. And from here, just walk your feet to the front of the mat. Bring your feet all the way together. And we're going to lift up halfway. So you're finding a halfway lift. Long spine from your tailbone to the top of your head. And then exhale, folding over your legs again. You can bend your knees if needed. And then push into the feet to stand all the way up. Palms come together to touch overhead. And then bring them down in front of you. Now you can stay where you are. I'm just going to turn to face you. And you can allow your feet to come into a more comfortable position, hip width distance apart right underneath your hips. And we're just going to take a very brief standing meditation here now that we've warmed up a little bit. So find a really solid position with those feet. Feel them grounding into the floor. Shine your palms forward. And then we're just softly going to close the eyes. And right away, notice where your breath is at today. Feel your lungs expanding and contracting. And now I'll invite you to bring your attention into your feet. And we don't have to change anything, but just make note of where your weight is being held while we stand here on 2 feet. So maybe your weight feels more in your toes, or more in your heels, or in the sides of your feet. And from wherever you are, I just invite you to take your weight more forward into the toes. And so this might be a very minuscule movement, not something that's going to be totally obvious to the outside, but you should feel now that your weight is fully into your toes. And let's spill your weight now over towards the right side. So you'll be on the outside of your right foot and the inside of your left foot. And now we'll take the weight back into the heels. Just feeling what this feels like to be holding our weight really far back. And then let's complete the circle coming over to the left. So now you're on the outside of your left foot, inside of your right foot. And now let's try to find a place directly in the center. So directly in the center of your foot is where you want your weight to be spilling into your feet. And now I have a couple images I want us to play with here. So the first is to imagine that from this central point in your feet where your weight is being held, imagine that the rest of your feet are spreading across the floor like pancakes. So we're not holding any tension, we're not gripping in the foot, we're allowing the foot to relax into the floor and really spread like a pancake all the way across your mat. So we're finding a nice wide base for support. And the second image I'd invite you to think about when we're doing our balances today is to imagine that you literally have roots like a tree growing under your feet into the ground, into the floor underneath you. And your legs are this tree trunk that's there to support you. So your energy doesn't end at the mat. Your energy extends through the floor into the earth, and those roots are what are going to help support you in each and every one of your balances. So with this very wide, centered, and grounded feeling, softly open your eyes. And we're going to come into some side bends. So interlace your fingers, flip your palms facing away from you, and then reach those palms up overhead. And then on an inhale, we're going to grow and get taller. So try and lengthen through your spine, but still keep your rib cage in. And then on an exhale, we're going to fold towards the right. So you should feel a nice big stretch on the left side of your body here. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, sending your arms over towards the left, stretching into the right side of your body. And still feel, even in these side bends, that we're still super grounded into the floor through the feet. So on this next inhale, as we come up to center, it's our feet grounding into the floor that are helping pull us back up to stand. So let's try that both sides one more time. Inhale, grow taller. Exhale, bending towards the right, feeling that grounded stretch. And inhaling back to center, and exhale to the left, feeling that stretch. And then send your weight into your feet, push down to inhale and come back up to center. Release the hands. You can bring your hands onto your hips for this next bit. We're gonna come into some rises. So basically you're gonna spill all of your weight into your toes, and then from there, send the balls of your feet into the floor just to lift those heels and rise up onto your tippy toes, basically. And then from here, we're lowering slowly down through the heels. So keep the weight in the front of your feet here, and then rising up. And when we're at the top of your balance here, think of sending your weight right on top of your first and second toe, and then sending the heels back down. We're gonna do that 3 more times. So lifting on up, send those heels up, toes down into the floor, and then softly lower the heels. Once more, lifting up, and sending the heels back down. Just kidding, now once more. Lifting the heels back up, trying to find the highest possible point you can in your feet here, and then letting the heels softly fall back down onto the mat. So feeling the feet super grounded, you're going to spill most of your weight into your left foot, and then only have like 2% of your weight over here in the right foot. So we're going to lift that right foot up, and we're trying to find tree pose. So the full variation of this pose is having your foot on the inside of your inner thigh here, like so. If this feels like too much, you can always place this foot on your calf. Just make sure that we're not placing it right on top of the knee. You want it to be either above or below. So choose which position you're gonna head into. Get that foot in there nice and solid. And then either place your hands in front of your chest, or if you're feeling super steady, you can lift your arms up overhead, finding the full variation of tree pose here. Now what will help you here is to keep your eyes focused on an unmoving point in front of you. So really lock your eyes into something on the wall across from you while you're balancing. And literally imagine that you are a tree in this posture here. Like your leg is the root, or your leg is the trunk, sorry. Your feet is growing roots underneath it, and the arms are the branches. And we'll be here for one more breath. And bringing the arms back down in front of your chest if they were extended, releasing that posture. Same thing, moving on to the other side. So now spilling all of your weight over into the right foot, lifting the left leg up, try to find the same position you found on the first side with your foot. Really glue that foot to your leg, and then adding the arms. Maybe extending them up overhead. And you might feel a little bit of wobbling or calibrating in the ankle as we're balancing here. And that really is just your body trying to find its central place, trying to find that steady place to balance. The more you practice balancing postures and the more you practice standing on one leg, the smoother this little calibrating will become, and you'll be able to find a really sturdy, stable place. So don't be discouraged if there is a little bit of wobbling happening. Just keep thinking, keep imagining that tree, keep imagining those roots, keep sending your energy down to the floor, and with practice it will come. And we'll bring the hands back in front of the chest, releasing that foot back down onto the mat. We're gonna come into almost the same posture, just a little bit different. So you're, once again, standing totally onto your left foot, lifting up your right leg. Keep your eyes locked on an unmoving point in front of you, and then just flex your heel and place it over top of your left knee. And then we're gonna bring your hands in front of your chest, and you're gonna bend into your knee. So send your tailbone backwards, chest will come forward slightly, and you're really feeling, you should feel a little bit of a stretch in the side of your right hip here. Try to keep a very long spine while we're here, so keep your belly button pulling in, tailbone reaches down, crown of the head reaches up. And even though we're on a bent supporting leg here, you still want to feel like there are roots growing underneath your feet. So we still kind of want to find that tree image through our foot into the floor. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And on your next inhale, push the floor away from you, and we will switch legs. So placing your right leg down, spilling your weight now all the way over into your right foot, lifting the left up, flexing that foot, cross it over, hands in front of your chest, and send the hips back, keeping a nice long spine. And again, feeling that energy sending down towards the floor, and we grow up away from the floor. And again, even though that we are in a bent position here, that doesn't mean that we shrink with our energy. Still want to keep that length, keep that energy moving to help us balance. Taking 2 more breaths. And on your next inhale, push to stand and let that leg release back down onto the mat. We're going to come into a wide-legged position now. So widen up your feet so they're wider than your hips, and make sure your feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat. And then you can place your hands on your hips. On an inhale, we're going to grow nice and tall, and then exhale, bending forward at the waist, flat back, come about halfway. So you're parallel to the floor here, and just feel what it feels like to have a nice long spine. And then on your next exhale, you're going to release that, let the spine curve and fall all the way forward. So we're really letting the spine dangle on top of your legs here. If you need to keep a small bend in the knees, that's totally okay. And you can even feel in this position here where some of these balancing images that we've been talking about can also come in handy, like spreading your feet on the floor like pancakes. That image always helps me in this posture here to stay secure and balanced. Taking 2 more breaths here. And on your next inhale, hands back onto your hips, extend your spine, send the energy into your legs, come all the way back up to stand. Now from here, turning out, we're gonna turn out your left foot first, and then take that right foot and spin it so it's at about a 45-degree angle to this short side of your mat. And make sure that your heels are in one line, and then we're gonna inhale, growing up nice and tall. And then similar to what we just did in that wide-legged stance, we're going to fold forward about halfway. So finding this halfway position, you might feel a nice stretch along the front of that leg. have a nice long spine here. If you feel sturdy in this position, you can add the arms up overhead just to add a little bit more of a challenge for you. Still feel those legs grounding into the floor. A slight micro bend in that front knee is definitely okay. We don't want to overstretch into that knee. Keeping that long spine for another 2 breaths. And bringing your hands back to your hips, maintaining that long spine as you push to come back up to stand. And then flip your feet once more so they're facing forward in this wide-legged stance. We're going to right away go to the other side. So flipping your right foot now so that it's facing the top of your mat. And turning your back foot in, your left foot, so that it's at about a 45-degree angle to the front of your mat. Heels in one line. Hips and shoulders right on top of one another and square to the front of your mat as we inhale to grow and get taller. Exhale, folding forward, finding halfway. And then adding the arms if you feel steady. We'll breathe here for about 5 breaths. Small micro bend in that front knee, reaching along through the spine. Keep it grounded and steady in those legs. And bringing your hands back onto your hips on your next inhale. Push to stand nice, long spine, come all the way up. And from this position, we'll bring the feet together to stand at the front of your mat now. On an inhale, bringing your arms all the way up overhead, palms come to touch. Exhale, dive forward over top of your legs. Inhale, finding a halfway lift, so this flat back position we've been working on. Then exhale, place your palms down, step back into a plank. So a nice long spine, keep the core nice and engaged. Full breath here, inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows all the way down onto the mat. Inhale to lift up into an arch. And exhale, tuck the toes, come back to downward facing dog. Really settle into the posture, let your heels fall towards the mat. Spine is nice and long. And from this position, we'll swing the right leg forward, finding a high lunge, just like we did in our warm-up. So right away, lifting up those arms, feeling the legs nice and strong and supported underneath us, rooting into the floor. Now we're going to take a little bit more of a dynamic balance exercise. So from this position, fire up the legs and think of stepping up onto that right foot as you lift the left knee up into your chest and then send that leg all the way back into your lunge. We're going to repeat this 3 more times. So exhale, push up to stand, send that leg into the floor, and then step back into your lunge. Twice more. Step all the way up, lifting that knee up, strong right supporting leg. Left leg shoots back into the lunge. Last time, standing all the way up. This time, grab your left knee, pull it into your chest. Feel that right leg rooting into the floor. And you feel free to stay here in this position, or if you'd like to take it a little bit further, we're going to twist in the upper body. Just finding a light spinal twist here. So still pulling your left knee in, reaching your left arm towards the back of your mat, and breathing deeply. Let the breath really come from your belly button. So we're twisting and breathing from the belly button. And on your next exhale, coming back to center, let that knee fall down to the floor. We're going to flow to downward dog once again. So inhaling, arms come up to touch. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift to flat back. Exhale, place the palms, stepping back into plank. Inhale here. Exhale, bending the elbows all the way down. Inhale to find an arch. And tuck the toes back, downward facing dog. Sending the heels into the mat. Shoulder blades sliding away from your ears. We're going to repeat that sequence on the second side. So stepping your left leg forward now. Lifting the arms up to find a high lunge. Keep that belly button pulling in towards your spine. Arms reaching up nice and tall. And now we have 4 of those dynamic step ups onto the left leg. So on an exhale, pushing that left leg into the floor, lifting your right leg up, and then shoot it back into a lunge. 3 more times, stepping all the way up and back. 2 and back. Last one, stepping up. This time, hang onto that right knee, pull it into your chest. Ground that left leg down into the floor. Feel the foot spreading out like a pancake. Once again, you can stay here or come into a twist. This time, reaching your right arm behind you. Deep breathing into your belly button. And exhale, come back to center. Let that knee fall back down to the mat. And we'll flow to downward dog once again. Inhaling all the way up, palms to touch. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, palms down. Stepping the feet back to plank. Inhale once here. Exhale, arms bend. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. We'll let the knees come down onto the mat right away. Toes together, knees apart, and just let your upper body melt onto the mat. Finding a child's pose, and just breathing deeply here. We'll be here for about 5 breaths. On your next inhale, lift the forehead, slowly walk your palms back in, and swing the legs forward. We're going to come all the way down, lying on your back. And place the soles of your feet on the floor, about hip width distance apart. Send your palms right beside your hips, shoulders sliding down your back. We're going to send the weight into your feet, push into your feet, just like we do when we're balancing. And then lift your hips up off the floor, finding a bridge pose here. So engage your glutes to send your hips up as high as you possibly can. Breathing deeply here. Make sure your knees are staying right in line with your hips and they're not opening up wide. And on your next exhale, we will lower slowly back down onto the mat. Hugging your knees into your chest, rocking a little bit side to side. If you feel comfortable here and your tailbone is flat against the mat, you can come into happy baby pose, so flexing your feet so that they are parallel to the ceiling. And then reach your elbows on the inside of your legs and then grab the outsides of your feet. So just like a happy baby, and you can rock back and forth. Try to keep that tailbone in contact with the mat so we still have a nice long spine. And you should feel a nice stretch, a nice release into your hips here. Taking a few more breaths. And releasing those legs into Shavasana. So taking up lots and lots of space, let the feet open up. Arms are wide, palms facing towards the ceiling. Everything is totally relaxing into the mat. And you can softly close your eyes. take a second to thank yourself for coming onto the mat today and doing your practice. And just take a minute to note and reflect on how those balances went for you today. Maybe they were great, maybe you saw some progress, maybe there are some things you noticed you still need to work on, or maybe today felt a little bit like an off day. And no matter what your answers are, remember that this is a practice and that your balance will always get better with practice. And so thank yourself again for showing up on the mat today. And make a promise to yourself to come back again tomorrow or sometime soon to practice again. And we'll continue to relax into the mat for about another 8 breaths or so. Breathing deeply, letting all of the tension melt away from your body. On your own time, just roll onto the right side of the body. Then very slowly lift yourself back up, finding a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. Close your eyes once more. Bring your hands together in front of your chest and bending forward. Namaste, yogis. Thank you so much for doing this practice for balance with me. I hope you got something out of it. I hope some of those images really helped you to stabilize a little bit. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to SKR Yoga and Wellness. And also check out the link to my health and wellness store in the description below. And that's everything for today. Thanks once again, and I hope to see you on the mat again soon.